Hey everyone, welcome back to Devirai Technologies. This is a bot series on Microsoft 365 Agents SDK. And today we're going to set up our development environment to start with Agents SDK. Let's get started. Since this is a beginner friendly tutorial series, so we are going to start slow, go step by step. If you have any issues, you can always reach out to me in the comments down below. Alright, so let's get started. We'll be following. So I'm here on my Windows machine. It's brand new. It does not have even a single application. So we'll start from scratch. Let me first turn this off. Perfect. Okay. Now let's first go to our tutorial website, devblogs.devirai.com. Okay. This is our tutorial website. For any updates, if you prefer looking at the tutorials, reading through the tutorials rather than going through the video, you can start from here. So we have started with 365 Agents SDK. So in our previous video, we have talked about whether it is the end of Microsoft Bot Framework SDK. So we just wrote down that blog, and this is a video that we had released earlier. Okay. And so today we are going to follow this particular blog. Set up your development environment. So these are the tools and softwares that we will need for throughout this series. We are going to use Visual Studio 2022 if throughout our tutorial series. And if you prefer VS Code, it's absolutely fine. It's just that I need better control over the IntelliSense and connection to Azure directly deploying from Visual Studio. So Visual Studio has more capabilities. If you prefer open source and if your organization is not ready to give you the Visual Studio license, then you can go with VS Code. If you're getting started, if you're just a student or developer who still wants to work with Visual Studio, they can go with Community Edition. Okay. Before that, we need .NET SDK. If you are installing Visual Studio 2022, it comes by default with this. So if you're going with Visual Studio Code, you need to install it manually in your PC before you go with VS Code. Okay. So here you just go to the link. Basically, if you just click on this link, right, so it will go to our downloads page and you can just download this from here. It is going to the official website here. Basically we need .NET 8 plus. You can also go with .NET 9 as well for our requirement. Okay, let's go with. So I'm going with .NET 9. So once you install the .exe file, just click on install. So it will install both targeting framework as well as runtime. It depends on your machine, how much time it takes based on your processing speed and your internet speed, how much time it takes to download as well as install. Okay, we have successfully installed .NET 9. To verify whether we have installed .NET 9, just right click on your start icon, go to terminal, just type .NET --version. So it will say the version that you have installed. So it's showing me 90301. So that's the version we have installed. Perfect. That's tick. We have successfully done that. Next, IDEs, that is Integrated Development Environment. So this is the place where you write your code and run your code and debug your code. Okay. So you have two options. You don't want to use both of them. You either want to use either Visual Studio 2022 or Visual Studio Code. Throughout the series, we are going to use VS 2022. So let's see how we can get started. So we'll go to downloads. Here, click on download Visual Studio. And if you're a student, open source developer, you can start with community edition. It's free of cost. Okay. If you're a small team, you can go with professional, because uh, make sure you have a proper license. If you're an enterprise user, then you go with enterprise license. Make sure you have license to connect to. Okay. Otherwise, after 1 month, your Visual Studio will stop working, because for 1 month you can try out the product, but you cannot use it after that. Okay. So let's install. Okay. If you are looking for latest features before they are released to the stable version, you can go with preview version as well. I'm going to go with preview because I love exploring latest features coming in Visual Studio. So I'm going to start with this one. Okay. And since I have the enterprise license, so I'm going to use Visual Studio Enterprise. For most users, Community Edition is more than sufficient. Okay. So it is going to install a installer file. You open it. Now we are installing the Visual Studio installer. This takes hardly 10-20 seconds. Okay. Once it is done, you choose the workload that is required. We'll continue this in our next video. What workload options are required for Microsoft 365 Agents SDK. Okay. We'll stop this for now. We'll come back in our next video. All right. Next, if you prefer VS Code, just click on it, download VS Code, and maybe let's suppose you don't have administrative access on your machine. You go with user installer. If you are an administrator and your machine is used by multiple users, you go with system installer. We are going to go with the system installer. Okay. And let's install this. I accept. Next. I'm going to check mark this because for most of my application, I'll just right click and open in VS Code. By the way, we'll be releasing the blog first or article first. Look out for next topic, that is workload options for Visual Studio. Okay, so we have successfully installed the VS Code. Perfect. So that is all. So you have these three. You have .NET SDK. You have one of the IDEs. Now you need bot framework emulator. By the way, you don't require this because in latest 365 Agents SDK, they have a inbuilt playground which is used for testing. Okay, so you don't need a separate emulator for testing your bot. But what I do is I mostly build custom applications. So that's the reason I go with emulator. So let's start with this one, that is Windows. And install. So basically what it does, when you run your bot, then it exposes a endpoint. In this case, it might be localhost 3978 /API/messages. That's the endpoint that will be exposed by your bot. And that endpoint you connect to this bot framework emulator to start interacting with your bot. Basically, it's a web chat interface where you can test your bot and debug your bot. Okay. Yeah. So this is how it looks like. Perfect. So we are done with this one. We have successfully installed .NET SDK, IDEs, and bot framework emulator. In our next video, we'll talk about the workload options that are required for Visual Studio 2022. And in the same video, we'll also look at the extension that is required for Visual Studio Code. Okay. All right. See you in the next video. Thanks, everyone.